Hello and good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining this webinar. I'm Baz Kinder, Commercial Director of Wellington, and in today's session, you'll be learning about OKRs, that's Objectives and Key Results, and all things at Microsoft Viva Goals. And you'll also get a quick look at the integration with Microsoft Project for the Web, which is where you could be managing the initiatives and projects that are driving towards where you need to be. However, I'm not going to say too much on the topic of OKRs myself, and that's because I'm joined by a very special guest today, slightly different to the one that was billed, and that is Krishna Ishwaran from Microsoft UK, who by all accounts is a guru on the topic of OKRs and Viva Goals. Well, I hope he is, otherwise we're going to be in real trouble. Krishna, would you like to say a quick hello?
Thank you so much for having me, Baz. Hi, everyone. My name is Krishna, and as Baz mentioned, I work as an employee experience specialist here at Microsoft. My job involves working with clients in the UK public sector, where I assist organizations in enhancing their employee experience through the use of the right data-driven strategies. So I joined Microsoft UK through the Ally.io acquisition, which is now called Viva Goals, and a core module within the Microsoft Viva employee experience platform. So anything related to Viva is what I focus on. And over the years, I've had conversations with hundreds of business leaders, learning how they handle their strategic initiatives and their goal-setting frameworks, and help them improve, some of their processes by using Viva Goals and OKRs. So looking forward to talking you through Viva Goals and giving you an overview of the platform. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Krishna. So before we get started, let's have a quick peek at the detailed agenda for today. So I'll be starting off with a brief intro to Wellington before I then provide a quick rundown of the use cases for both Viva Goals and Project for the Web. Krishna will then be taking us through a detailed overview of the OKR framework and the Viva platform, including Viva Goals. And we'll also be showcasing a live demo of the solution, which is worth hanging around for. After which I'll then demonstrate briefly the integration with Project for the Web. I'll also be telling you about how you can sign up for bespoke demos, so do stay tuned and let's now get into it. Well, first of all, we are Wellington, and our promise to you is that by taking up our services, your project and portfolio management capability will be improved, and that is something that we provide as a money-back guarantee. And we've been around since 2001, and we've got offices in the UK, Ireland, Spain, and India. And as you can see, we've managed to collect quite a few accreditations over the last 20 or so years. And in particular, we are a Microsoft Gold partner with the project and portfolio management specialization. And we offer a wide variety of services that span consultancy, technology, and training, the focus very much being on helping our customers to improve their project and portfolio management capability. You can, of course, read more by going to wellington.co.uk. So please do follow that link and take a look through the website. And just before I move on to today's topic, here's a very small selection of our customers over the years, quite an eclectic mix of organizations, as you can see. But the one thing that they all have in common is that they manage projects, and they do to some extent ensure that their projects are strategically aligned. Lots of case studies again available on the website, so again follow that link and take a look. Okay, so that brings us on to today's topic, and you might be wondering, well, what on earth is Viva Goals? And perhaps to a lesser extent, especially if you've been following our content, what's Project for the Web? So let's shed some light on this. So in terms of backgrounds, Viva Goals was launched back in 2022, and in a nutshell, it's a solution that helps you to set and track your goals using the OKR framework, whilst helping ensure that those goals are aligned against the organization's strategic priorities. And again, Krishna is going to be covering that in some detail. So let's move on to Project for the Web, which is, as the name might suggest, a project management solution. And it also happens to be the latest version of Microsoft Project. And that is where the detailed work planning takes place and gets tracked. And through the Viva Goals integration, which is something that we'll be looking at a bit later, the progress is then automatically fed through to Viva Goals, driving the key results and the initiatives in that particular platform. There's of course more to Project for the Web, and I'd highly recommend you check out some of the other videos on our YouTube channel to get a deeper understanding. But for now, I'm going to ask Krishna to take control and to enlighten us on the world of OKR frameworks and Viva Goals. Krishna.
Thank you. All right, perfect. So for today's call, I'm going to talk you through how Viva Goals helps create stronger purpose and alignment across your organization. And Viva Goals, as Baz mentioned, is built on the objective and key result framework. So I'm going to give you an overview of what OKRs are, why Viva Goals, why are organizations adopting the goal setting framework, and then we can do a product demo. So without any further ado, let's jump in. So as I mentioned earlier, Viva Goals is part of Microsoft Viva, which is our employee experience platform. It is designed to help organizations enhance employee well-being, productivity, and engagement. Microsoft Viva integrates various tools, technologies, and insights to create a more connected and effective work environment. But here's a quick overview of the different apps and services that Viva provides. So today I'm going to talk you through the drive, mission, and alignment pillar of Microsoft Viva. But here's a look at the bigger picture. So Viva has tools for every step of an employee's journey. The main aim of Viva is to help you boost how involved and well people work by, again, using tools for setting goals and communicating them, which helps everyone understands the company's mission and works together better. Second, making sure employees have what they need to do a great job. That means having the right skills and tools and knowledge. So making learning accessible in the flow of your everyday work. Third, looking at data from the workplace and getting feedback from employees to see how things are going. So this helps understand how people are engaged and how productive everyone is. So for today's call, we're going to be focusing on the Viva Goals element and how it can create stronger alignment and help you drive towards your strategic goals. Going to take a step back here and talk through why creating a purpose-driven work is important. And I wanted to share this quick parable about 3 bricklayers that has always captured the importance of purpose-driven work for me. So there's a man walking down the street. He sees 3 bricklayers, each of them diligently placing bricks along the wall, and each of them is working very hard, as you can imagine. So to the first bricklayer, the man asks a question, "What are you doing?" To which the bricklayer replies saying, "I'm laying bricks. I'm working hard to feed my family." Then the man moves to the second bricklayer and asks the same question, "What are you doing?" To which the second bricklayer replies saying, "I'm building this nice big wall." Finally, the man comes to the third bricklayer, who seems to be the most focused, and asks again, "What are you doing?" And the third one has a gleam in his eye and he says, "I'm building this great big cathedral." So the fact is, most employees don't know why they're doing the work they often do. Oftentimes, they just work on what their manager tells them to do or what some project management tool lists out as tasks for them. But essentially, when every team and every person in your organization is aligned towards the strategic priorities of the business and understands the purpose behind their day-to-day work, they're happy, they're more engaged, and they're more productive. Again, it's true when building cathedrals, and it's true in businesses as well. This parable is actually rooted in the true story of the famous architect Christopher Wren, who was commissioned to rebuild the St. Paul's Cathedral after the Great London Fire of 1666. So Wren understood that truly executing on something amazing takes everyone working towards the same vision, and actually took it upon himself to ensure that people working on the St. Paul's Cathedral understood that vision. But hopefully this resonates well with you in terms of how purpose-driven work helps in organizations. So this is a quote that I took from our Work Trend Index. So employees are fearing, that they're not productive enough, and leaders are concerned that productivity is not there or it's not pointed in the right direction. These changes have made it very difficult for both the business and the employee. And to deal with this level of uncertainty, business leaders and managers are trying to figure out a modern operating or a goal setting framework to react in a timely way and build business resilience, right? I think we all need a way to stay focused and aligned to the most important results the business needs to drive. Again, if we don't, we fail. We fail at maintaining employee satisfaction and well-being, participation, productivity, and ultimately the bottleneck. And this is where OKRs come into play. And OKRs, again, are a proven goal-setting framework for creating that stronger alignment, more focused, and a more engaged work culture to drive your business outcomes. Now, while OKRs as a concept are fundamentally simple, it's actually a transformative shift and pays off in big ways. We have a lot of customers who talk about how their teams perform 2 to 4x higher than before after adopting the framework. It's not a new methodology, right? So McKinsey and Co. call this the fast operating model. You have other operating models too, like MBOs, V2MOM, SMART goals. And I think 20 years ago, it was called a balanced scorecard. But basically today, the current incarnation of this approach is what we call as objectives and key results. So this is how we break it down. So an objective is a description of a goal that needs to be achieved in the future. It sets a clear direction, it provides motivation, and an objective can be thought of like a destination on a map, right? So it has to be actionable, it has to be aspirational, it has to be meaningful. The second is the key result. It is a metric with a starting value and a target value that measures progress towards your objective. So it's a measurable outcome that contributes towards the achievement of an objective, and it can be thought of like a signpost with a distance that shows you how close you are to your objective. And there are typically 4 elements that make up a key result. One is that it has to be focused, it has to be time-bound, it has to be measurable, and it also has to be aggressive. The third element is initiatives, right? And an initiative is a description of the work that you'll do to influence a key result. So to summarize, if an objective is your destination and a key result shows you the distance to go, an initiative describes what you do to get there. And this is what Baz was pointing out earlier in terms of how your project for the web, your planner, integrations that help you manage all of these initiatives tie up very nicely towards your key results and your objectives that your team or your department or your organization will own. So in this graph, as you can see, OKRs sort of sit between your purpose, strategy, and your execution. And OKRs align your entire organization to your strategy, again, shifting focus from more of an output-driven mindset to an outcome-based mindset, right? And this shift keeps your teams more engaged with a clear sense of purpose and understanding how everyone is contributing towards that forward momentum. So you have your strategic priorities, your objectives and key results that make up the strategic direction for your organization. So these are the outcomes that your organization is hoping to achieve. And if you think about how this works across an organization, at a business level, you will probably have 3 to 5 objectives, which each have 3 to 5 key results, as well as key initiatives attached to them. From there, each department will define their own OKRs that support the business level objectives, creating consistent focus throughout the entire organization. So you have your organizational objectives, your department objectives, your team objectives, and then your individual objectives as well. And this seemingly simple premise, can unlock huge value for an organization when it's built into the fabric of how the business is run. The value is actually generally contextualized with what we call the 5 superpowers that help organizations deliver these goals, which I'll get into in my next slide. First, OKRs help drive alignment. So ensuring everyone understands how their work ladders up to the higher level strategic priorities of the entire organization and ensuring that everyone is actually rowing in the same direction. It also cascades to ensure everyone is focused on what is moving the needle. And this is a very quick low-hanging fruit for a lot of organizations to solve. Second is OKRs create more focus. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the best practice is to have 3 to 5 core objectives and key results per person or per entity per quarter. But having those goals defined supports the prioritization process and helps teams stay focused on those that matter and avoids the trap of everything is important and so nothing is important, right? So I often talk about the spotlight versus the floodlight analogy. So an OKR should be thought of as a spotlight. So any goal that is actually going to contribute towards the business objectives needs to be thought of as an objective and key result rather than every single goal. So it's not a floodlight of all the goals that you're working on. Third is OKRs help create transparency, and transparency is vital as we're moving to more of a remote or a hybrid work culture. When everyone can see everyone's objectives and key results across the entire organization, what this does is that it creates clear accountability. It helps build trust. It also fosters cross-team collaboration. And when everyone can see everyone's OKRs, commitment and ownership is present, and also goal attainment increases. It is a cultural change. It takes some time for you to realize the value, but in 6 months, typically, we see a lot of organizations being more transparent in the way they set their goals. Fourth is agility, and we're going to be talking you through this in detail while showing you the platform as well. But it is extremely important to have early and frequent visibility into how we are tracking against our goals, because this would enable teams to make better data-driven decisions and also to adjust strategy quickly, right? Again, in a world, where things can change drastically overnight, I think business leaders find themselves needing a tool that has to be agile. So how can we adapt quickly to both internal and external risks as well as opportunities? And OKRs will provide that window into the early indicators that allow you to move quickly and more decisively. The last superpower is around achievement or growth, right? So the OKR framework encourages teams to set their goals aspirationally. So setting a stretch target is perhaps a little bit uncomfortable, but aspirational goals can help teams think out of the box to achieve more than what they thought would ever be possible. So OKRs are typically not tied to your performance management. So if you do 100% of your OKR, it means that you haven't created a stretch goal. But if you do about 70%, that technically means that you have created a stretch goal and you have completed 100% of your tasks. So these values have been core to why OKRs work for decades, right? But our customers have found that the framework is more impactful now than ever before. I'm going to quickly talk you through an example. So over here, you can see I've got a company level objective, which is to become the best gaming platform in North America. And as you can see, our executive team has come up with this particular objective. And it is accomplished via two key results. One is to achieve 150 million monthly active users. And second is exceeding 90% user retention rate. This also includes two key initiatives. And these key initiatives are what you probably manage in Project for the Web, which are how they intend to get their key results and ultimately their objective. But the executive team isn't performing key initiatives on their own, right? These sort of get delegated out to departments so that the company-wide initiative of ship a next version of gaming platform to improve engagement becomes the product department's objective, with the company-wide key result of exceeding 90% of user retention attached to it, and the company-wide key initiative of increasing reaching gaming platform becomes part of it. So as you can see, goals sort of get cascaded to different entities of the organization, becoming their own objectives. So one person's objective becomes another person's key result, and so on and so forth. It sort of trickle down from that. I'll talk you through this more while I'm showing you the platform, but hopefully this resonates well in terms of why OKRs are important and why organizations are adopting them today. I'm going to quickly transition over to my demo account now. Hopefully you all can see my screen. All right. So for today's demo, I'm going to talk you through how the superpowers of OKRs, so that is alignment, focus, transparency, agility, and creating stretch goals, translate in the solution, and show you how we support organizations in creating this culture, right? So we're going to focus on the software orientation and navigation. So how you can view OKRs at 3 different altitudes, what is setting your business cadence look like in the platform, how you can search for OKRs, and what is the status and KPI summary. So without any further ado, let's dive in. I think you'll love how simple and easy it is to use. So I've logged in from the CEO's perspective. And whenever anyone enters the platform, this is the screen that they're going to see first, the My OKRs tab. And for today's demo, I am Jason Gooding. So Jason Gooding is the CEO of Contoso. So any objective and key result that you will be viewing from this page will be from Jason Gooding's perspective. The next thing that you notice in the platform is the navigation panel. So you can either collapse or you can expand the menu. And also you can see that most of Jason's goals are owned by the organization, what is denoted by this organization icon right over here. Now, focusing on the transparency element of how you can view goals, you can view goals at 3 different attitudes. So you can view them at an organizational level. So over here, I'm going to be viewing Contoso's goals. So all the objectives and key results that are owned by the organization and what they're focusing on for this given time period. Second, I can view goals at a specific team level. So over here, I can also create a complex hierarchy, and each team will have its own front page as well. So if I click on team and click on HR, I'll be able to understand what the HR team is working on, very similar to what I showed you in the org team dashboard. Go back to my teams. This really what it does is supports how departments, tribes, and squads are broken down. Sometimes an org structure inside a HRIS system doesn't always replicate how work is being done within an organization. So this gives you that clear visibility. And also we support unlimited levels of nesting. So if you have different sub teams nested under a team or a department, you can create that workflow as well on the platform. The third altitude is at an individual user level. So if I click on user, I'll be able to see all my direct reportees, my team members, and all the users associated over here. So if I want to look at what Anubhav is working on, for instance, I can quickly understand. So again, each view have their own front page for you to understand what goals they're working on and how they're progressing towards that goal. So this is all about the whole transparency element. The real value add is you're one click away from understanding how the company, how any team or how any individual is performing against their objective and key results. A customer once told me that they had a very meeting heavy culture, and they would oftentimes walk into meetings and get large updates and summaries around what the team was working on. Having this level of visibility in a solution solved a lot of time problems for them around meeting changes. So now you could walk into a meeting and understand how a specific employee or a team is performing against his or her goals. Now, since you already know what the progress and the status are, you can have broader conversations around, let's talk about the context, the summary, what is working well, what isn't working well, so we can focus on generating outcomes. Okay, and again, we also have a lot of organizations practicing OKRs and spreadsheets, and oftentimes in the past, they found it very difficult to manage multiple spreadsheets and to visually understand how their goals are currently being aligned and cascaded all the way down to the frontline worker. And after using Viva Goals for a few months, they saw a lot of value in effectively managing their time spent on keeping a tracking of their goals, ensuring more participation from their teams, sending out notification reminders and updates, and also leveraging the power of integrations, which we will get into as well. Now let's head back to the My OKRs tab. The next element that I wanted to showcase on is the business cadence, so the time period in which you can support your OKRs. Out of the box, we support a quarterly business cadence, so you have your goals broken down against each quarter. But we also support multiple custom time periods, so depending on the way your organization is structured, click on admin, go to time periods, and you can create your own time period. But as I mentioned, we support by default quarterly time periods. You can also add your planning year. So if your year starts in January and ends in December, you can configure that in the system. If it starts from July to June, you can do that as well. So depending on your financial cycle, you can set your goals. So again, we can support multiple time periods and custom time periods. So Viva Goals allows you to easily configure the rhythm of your business based on OKR best practices. But also what we do is we keep your historical progress. So if you want to have a look at the previous time periods and see how you progress to really get insights into what has worked and what hasn't worked, you can come in and analyze that data as well in the platform. I'll go back to the My OKRs tab for now. The next element that I want to highlight in terms of the navigation around the platform is the search functionality. We actually take a lot of pride in this. It's one of the most robust parts of the platform. Over here, you'll be able to search for users. So for instance, if I want to search for a particular user, I can come in and understand what they focus on. Over here, I'll be able to see a team. So if I want to have a look at the specific team or a department, I'll be able to search for them and see all their objectives and key results and the initiatives that they're working on. And also bring in really key actions together in a very seamless experience, right? Apart from just searching, you can also update your OKRs, you can add a new objective, you can add a new project, and we all have different shortcuts that you can leverage to just quickly create an objective or create a key result. One of the key reasons why I wanted to show these functionalities to you is because while we were building out the product, one of our core beliefs is to keep things as simple and easy to use as possible. Adopting and cultivating the methodology can be a bit difficult, so you really want to choose the solution that makes it as seamless for your employees to use. And also, this is incredibly helpful for cross-team collaboration or organization-wide visibility to ensure there is no duplication of efforts on projects or initiatives and teams OKRs that people are working on. So that is around the software orientation and navigation. And now I'm going to focus more on the superpowers, right? So we touched on transparency. The second superpower that I'm going to talk through is the alignment element. So over here, you can see the summary dashboard, which gives you an idea of the actual progress of the organization compared to what is expected. So you have your actual progress and you have your expected outcome as well. You have the OKR by status. So we have 6 different statuses. Green is on track, yellow is behind, red is at risk, gray is at closed, and dark gray is at not started, and blue is at postponed. So 6 different RAG statuses for you to utilize. Below is your KPI summary. So Viva Goals KPI dashboard feature allows users to view one or many KPIs in a single dashboard. So as soon as you log into the platform, if you want to have a look at where you're progressing in terms of your sales numbers, and sales is typically a quantifiable metric, so it would be a KPI. You can have that in your front screen as well. So you can add that to your dashboard. And below are all the objectives and key results that are owned by you. Now, again, I'm the CEO. I'm going to be owning all the organization level goals. So these are the top 4 CEO objectives for this specific time period. Again, the real value here is one of the reasons why our customers love using Viva Goals is because what's important is front and center, and everything is no more than just 1 or 2 clicks away. That's the way we've designed the solution as well. And it also allows managers to monitor employee progress in their goals by tracking workload and progress. Individuals and managers can identify, potential burnout or excessive stress and take proactive measures to address some of these issues. So this is around, again, in the agility portion of the platform. Alignment is, I'm going to show you how an organizational level goal sort of breaks down to a team goal and then to an individual goal, right? So let's take an example. Let's say the organization's objective is to double annual revenue in order to create a profitable and sustainable company. It's owned by Jason. You have the organization logo attached to it. You have the status and progress when it was last updated, if there was a last check-in note, and if it's aligned to a further objective along with the time period, start date, and due. All of these bars are customizable based on the data that you want to represent. So if I unfold this objective, I will be able to see other child objectives that are listed below. And you can see that this child objective is owned by the sales department, which is to improve annual recurring revenue via sales to new customers. This FY, you have another child objective, which is to drive record-breaking growth to increase financial stability, and so on and so forth. I can further break this down into different individual and team objectives. So over here, you can see Mariam is the head of the enterprise sales division, and her objective or her key result is to close 500,000 in new enterprise deals, as well as to close 300,000 in new mid-market deals. And you also have Jason, who's part of the SMB team, with the goal of closing 500,000 in new deals. So what this does is that it gives you the ability to cascade goals downstream. So everyone is focused on what is moving the needle. But bottoms up, this is the real value add, is Viva Goals provides Miriam and Jason with that purpose and clarity and connection on work that's contributing upstream. So this allows employees to align their personal aspiration with organization's objective. And when employees see their growth and development tied to meaningful company goals, it can boost their employee motivation and overall sense of well-being. So Miriam has a clear understanding as to how her goals contributes at a sales department level and then all the way up at an organizational level. Now, again, we support unlimited levels of cascading, so it really depends on how you sort of want to break it down. But typically, we have organizations going all the way down to the individual level. So that's how alignment looks like in the platform. The second element that I wanted to talk through is the agility element. and how you can quickly update your goals within the solution. And I'm going to transition to Baz as well after I've covered my portion of the demo to show you how we integrate with Project for the Web. But there are multiple ways in which you can update your goals. One is logging into the platform and updating your goals. So let's say I'm Miriam. Currently, I'm at 310,000 against my target of 500,000. Let's say I have closed another account and I want to update the progress. I come in, click on check-in, update the progress, let's say to 410,000, click the status to on track. By default, the system automatically calculates for you, but you do have the option to override it based on your expected projections. So I can also add a closing note, say closed. And also have the option to add mention my manager on this particular progress. I can also link a PDF or a Word document or a hyperlink directly, and just to share more context on this particular check-in. Once I click on check-in, you will see that the progress is updated to 410 and the objective also increases to 43%. You can also drag and slide it based on how quickly you want to update it. So if you're on the go and you want to update progress, you have the option to do that as well. Next, I'm going to show you how easy it is to actually add an objective in the platform, right? So on the top right, you can see this plus icon to add an objective. So if I click it, I'll get the option to add the title. Now, just for time purposes, I'm going to quickly take something that I've already created. So let's say it's research and improve customer satisfaction. As you can tell, it's an ambitious, aspirational, and actionable goal. So it's an objective. Owner, let's say it's going to be owned by Jason. Time period for this particular quarter. I'm not going to keep it assigned to any team because I'm CEO and I'm going to own that particular goal. Outcome, I'm going to measure it towards the completion of my key results, and the progress and status is going to be updated based on the key results. So once I click on create, I have the option to add the key result as well. So this is the KPI that I'm going to add that measures progress towards this particular objective. Let's say it is increase So this is a metric key result that I've added. Let's say it is NPS, increase from 40 to 60. And as you can see, you have the option to add a number, a percentage, a dollar, euro, pound, or Swiss franc. And so you have different metrics. And you can also change the target to based on the goal. So you can either do an increase from, decrease from, stay above, stay below, or you can find a baseline. If I click on create, you'll see that the objective and the key result is created instantly. And as and when I update progress towards this, the objective automatically increases as well. This is how easy it is to create an OKR in the platform. Just to quickly highlight what all we've covered, I've shown you what transparency looks like in the solution, how you can cascade goals from an org level down to an individual level. So that's the alignment portion, agility in terms of updating your goals. The second one is in terms of reporting. So how can I quickly have access to some of the goals that I want to have a look at and see how I'm progressing towards them. Multiple ways in which you can report them. My favorite is the review dashboard, which is a customizable presentation-ready dashboard that populates real-time data on OKR progress, thereby eliminating the need to create a presentation from ground up. So again, you can be using several tools to track metrics that are closely correlated to the OKR progress within Viva Goals. And instead of juggling tools to present real-time data during your review meeting, the review dashboard enables you to bring KPIs, it enables you to bring projects, trends, and contextual information on OKR progress all under a single roof, so you can have those laser focused meetings as well. So over here you can see I have my review dashboard. This is a dashboard that I use in my monthly town halls to talk through how we're progressing for this particular quarter. So I have a textual summary over here to talk through what my top priorities are, what my wins are, what my losses are, and what my blockers are. Over here, I have all the OKRs that I'm currently working towards. You can see again the expected and the actual outcome, and you can see how I'm progressing towards that. And below, I also have an OKR detail view. So if I want to zoom in on one specific objective and talk through that on my town hall meeting, I can create that widget as well. But as I mentioned earlier, you can bring in KPIs, visualizations, projects, trends, and any contextual information on OKRs all under a single roof. Once I click on present, you will see that it comes up with the presentation ready dashboard for me to talk through during my town hall or my review meeting. Each entity or each individual will have their own dashboard, and you can create multiple dashboards as well. So again, we've heard customers spend about 140 hours every quarter preparing their QBRs, taking data from multiple different data sources and putting it. Instead of doing that, you can actually use the review dashboard to automate that entire process and workflow for you. So it's a very easy and intuitive way to run your QRPs or your QBRs or your MBRs and whichever review meeting that you want to talk about your goals and how you're progressing towards them. That's one element of reporting. The second is through our Objective Explorer. So if I go back on Explorer, click on all objectives, over here I will be able to see all the objectives that the entire company is owning. If I want to filter down to see, all the OKRs that are progressing less than 50% for, let's say, this specific time period, I will be able to get that filter view as well. So you can see over here, I have a couple of OKRs that are progressing below 50% as well for that particular quarter. Different ways in which you can bring metrics and calculate and make those data-driven decisions. You can also save this option. You can also export it, or you can also export it to a CSV file and so on and so forth. We also have the option now to export it to PowerPoint as well. So multiple ways in which you can export the data from the platform. So I'm going to hand over to Baz now to talk through the project for the web integration with Viva Goals. Conscious that we're focusing on the agility, so I'm going to hand over to Baz to talk you through that.
Perfect, Krishna. Thank you ever so much. Incredibly insightful view of Viva Goals and OKRs. I'm going to share my screen again and take you through a brief demonstration of how you can integrate Viva Goals with Microsoft Project for the Web. So you should be able to see my screen now, I hope. And this is the homepage to Microsoft 365. We, of course, are interested in Project for the Web as the starting point because that is where our initiatives are being held. So I've already got a plan opened up. This is Project for the Web, and if you're not familiar with the latest version of Project, I would strongly recommend you go and look at some of the other videos in our YouTube channel, because you will find a beginner's guide in there, and you'll also find other content that talks about extending Project for the Web with the Power Platform. Completely out of scope for today, but again, there's a whole world of knowledge out there on our YouTube channel. But here I am in Microsoft Project for the Web. We are primarily going to be focusing on the bucket view or the board view, as you can see highlighted there. I've also got 3 buckets highlighted. And by the way, you can create as many buckets as you want. You can call them whatever you like as well, and you can color coordinate them as I've done so here, just so that they stand out for the purposes of a demo primarily. Within each one of these buckets, I've got tasks. And against the tasks, I've also assigned durations. I've also assigned individuals to work on them as well. And again, there's a lot more that I can do with Project for the Web, but beyond the bucket view or the board view that I'm demonstrating right now, you can also view your projects in the format of a grid, which is, again, a very traditional view, very much like Microsoft Project Desktop. And you can also choose to view them here on a timeline, which gives you access to an interactive Gantt chart. But putting that all to one side, I again wanted to highlight that this is where the initiative lives. here in the board view, and we've got all the tasks in place. If I jump over now to Viva Goals, I'm going to jump over to the admin console first of all, because this is where we've set up the integration with Project for the Web. So that's something that was recently set up by one of my colleagues a couple of days ago, but we've also got some integrations in place there with Planner, with Excel and Power BI, so you can actually pull out data from a variety of sources to update the initiatives in Viva Goals, which is where we are going to go now. So unlike Krishna, I don't have a pre-populated environment. This one is pretty blank. I could now go in and start typing in initiatives, but I don't want to do that because my typing in live events is shocking. So what I'm going to do is select a sample OKR data set. So let's select the marketing one. This one will do fine. So let's add that in. And that's being added in. I'll close out. So here is the objective. We can see beneath that some key results that we are looking to drive. We've already got a couple initiatives there as well. One of the things that we can do is actually nest the initiatives beneath the key results, and I'm going to do that only because my OCD is really going to kick in and I want it to look neat and tidy. So I'm going to do this in the background. That was, I believe, that one there, and we will get rid of that, save. So we're going to nest one of these in, otherwise we'd be here all day. So we've got one initiative in place already. What I'm actually going to do is click that button, go to the edit screen, and I'm going to scroll down to the outcome. And this is where we would typically add in the tasks. You've got the ability to do this manually within Viva Goals, which is something that Krishna demonstrated earlier. We don't want to do that. We want to automatically bring in data from an existing data source, of that being Project for the Web. So I'm going to go through the motions of getting that set up. I'm going to find my project. That's loading up. It's loading up the project list. We will link it to the marketing campaign. And you'll remember the bucket list that I demonstrated earlier. That's exactly what we are going to connect to. So we are looking at the social media campaign initiative. I'm going to link it to that bucket. I've got the option now of going in and selecting specific tasks being managed by certain individuals. I'm going to leave it open to anyone. And we can also track progress by either counting up the number of completed tasks, or I could look at the percentage of tasks completed. I will leave it at the default setting, and I'm going to press next. And what that's going to do is suck in all of the tasks within that particular bucket. I'm going to save that. I'm also going to go in and actually create one additional initiative as well. So let's add in one more. I am actually going to do a bit of typing, so brace yourself. So increase website visitors. Okay, manage that without any mistakes. And in a similar way, I'm going to go back to the outcome, and I'm going to again link to Project for the Web as a data source. Now, in this example, I'm going to be linking to exactly the same project because I've got all of my buckets in one place. But I can realistically link to any initiative, any project within Project for the Web that I want to. So I've got that option as well. I will go in, find that particular bucket. And again, I'm going to leave all the settings as default. And this time we are going to bring in 19 tasks, and I'll save that off. Now that I've created that link, you will see under the last update column that the project icon pops up. The way that this works as a default is that it would synchronize once every hour to bring in any updates that might have occurred. In this scenario, I'm going to actually go in, open up the tasks, and you can see the task list there. You'll notice that I haven't got the option of being able to edit the tasks within Viva Goals. In order to do that, I've got to go to Project for the Web. So click on that button, and we are again going to see our plan. And it automatically opens up in the board view, looking at the relevant buckets. Now, for the sake of time, I'm just going to go in and mark a bunch of these tasks off as being completed. I don't know if you can hear that satisfying ping every time I say that something's been completed, but you know, all the more reasons for completing a task is just to hear that sound. So I've updated quite a few. I'm going to head back now to Viva Goals. I am going to minimize as soon as I move this menu out of the way. I'm going to minimize and bring Viva Goals back up. And now I'm going to press this button to synchronize manually. So give this a second. The data is going to be pulling through, and there we can see that this particular initiative is now 15% complete. So let's click into it. Let's actually open this up as a full page view and scroll down, and you can see the items that have been marked off as being completed. I think the synchronization is still underway in the background, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how you can synchronize with Project for the Web. So again, objective and key results being held and managed within Viva Goals, but the initiatives themselves, the detail level being managed in Project for the Web, and the roll-up of those updates driving the update within Viva Goals afterwards. So again, that was a very quick look at the integration. I'm sure many of you have probably got questions and you want to have a deeper dive around this. So let's talk about next steps. If you would like to get a deeper dive around Viva Goals or Project for the Web, or both of them combined, all you need to do is drop us an email using the details that are coming up shortly, and we will schedule in a 1-hour deep dive with you, not a problem. If you've looked at Viva Goals, if you've looked at Project for the Web, and you're thinking this is really the kind of thing that we are looking to implement within our organization, and in that regard, you can take the next step and book onto a half-day envisioning workshop where we would take a deeper dive into your current ways of working, your objectives, your the desired ways of working going forward. We can then play back to the art of the possible, and with a better understanding of what you're trying to achieve, also give you a implementation roadmap, signposting how we would approach an implementation, what the timelines would look like, the associated effort, and off the back of that, we can also then give you a tailored proposal. And to discuss anything else at all you need to do is get in touch using these details. So here we go. You can drop me an email by sending an email to baz.kinder@wellington.co.uk. You can also link with me on LinkedIn by either typing in my name or just typing in that URL. And again, Krishna, your details are displayed. Please do go and connect with Krishna. And whilst you are on LinkedIn, do also look up Wellington. Of course, look up Microsoft as well, but you all know Microsoft. But you might want to follow the content that we publish on a regular basis. Beyond that, this video and many more do find their way to our YouTube channel. So that's youtube.com/WellingtonPPM. And once you are there, do subscribe and ding that notifications bell to be notified of any new videos that are being published. And in closing, one thing that I do want to signpost is our upcoming future PMO event that attracts over 250 PMO professionals. And this year, we've actually got Krishna popping along and presenting a topic which is all about PMOs and OKRs and how they all fit together. You can learn more by going to futurepmo.com. But for me, guys, it's a goodbye. And Krishna, I would like to say thank you very much for taking us through OKRs and Viva Goals. Any closing words from yourself?
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Glad you found it insightful. But thanks so much, Baz, for having me.
You're most welcome. And Krishna, look forward to having you at Future PMO as well. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in today. I'm sure you've got questions. Do feel free to email them in. I know that we have received 1 or 2 questions during the duration of this session. We will follow up individually offline. But guys, have a great day ahead and thank you.